by Larry Puckett Chevrolet, Pepsi, Prattville Farm Center, Durbin Auto Parts, and by True Pull Trailers. Dixie Country and Prattville Alive invite you to join us now for a preview of this week's Prattville Lions football game. The Coach J.B. Wallace Show is coming to you live from El Patron Mexican Grill on Cobb's Ford Road in Prattville. Tonight's show is powered by Larry Puckett Chevrolet, Pepsi, Prattville Farm Center, Durbin Auto Parts, and by True Pull Trailers. Let's go live to El Patron Mexican Grill for tonight's Coach J.B. Wallace Show, hosted by Chris Britton.
Well, good evening, Prattville Lions Nation. We are so glad you're tuned in. That's right. Don't check your calendar or your watch. It is Wednesday. That can only mean one thing. We have football on Thursday for the Lions Nation this week. We've got a home game at the home away from home tomorrow night, Thursday night in Wetumpka. My name is Chris Britton. I'm your host for the Coach J.B. Wallace Show, and I'm joined as always by the man the show's named after, Coach J.B. Wallace. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, way better than I deserve. Well, let's go straight into it. Let's talk about last week's game. We were on the road, quite a journey to get up there.
Yeah.
But at Hewitt-Trussville against the Huskies. Walk us through last week's matchup.
Yeah, you mentioned it was a journey to get there. You know, we had to take the back way to get to the interstate.
How about that?
Because of the incident going on, you know, right there off the interstate
65,
last week.
in case you folks don't know, it was shut down.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
North and south.
Right, and now it was shut down. Well, the traffic was bad most of the night, right?
That's what I heard, yeah.
You know, northbound.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, we took the back way getting to the stadium. You know, we stopped in and had pregame meal. Up that way at Golden Corral and Hoover is where our team ate, man. And I tell you, the first thing of that day that made me proud, and you know, you see it so much week in, week out, and you have an expectation of what your team should do, how your team should conduct themselves. Had several people, they were people that were eating at Golden Corral and members that worked at Golden Corral that commented on how we could bring 130 guys in. And they kind of had us, you know, blocked off, and we had our own section, and you ain't know we were there.
Yeah.
You know, like we came in, our guys handled themselves accordingly. You know, really focused on the task at hand and handle themselves, you know, like you want them to.
Well, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit more, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're not just developing football players, you're developing young men, and that shows in the moments like that.
Right. Well, you know, just me looking at it, I could tell, you know, the mindset was where it needed to be at the time, and so, but you know, when we left there, then we headed to Hewitt-Trussville, to where we prepared for our game and all that kind of stuff, got dressed and all that, and we played the game that night.
Schedule-wise, were you thrown off a little bit by the delay, or pretty close to where you wanted to be there?
Yeah, it put us about maybe 10 minutes behind.
That's not
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Yeah, we kind of made it work. But you know, I kind of built in extra time for our schedule, just in case you have an emergency or something like that happen. So we built in a little extra time, but we were about 10 minutes off the schedule, but we eventually caught back up and we were able to have a normal Friday night game, you know, up at Hewitt-Trussville.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So ball game, tip off, you know, well, the broadcast team, I think, took them a little bit to get there. They had to get started a little bit late. I don't know if the band, you know, they were a little delayed. It was just everything was a little off as far as logistics go. Let's take us through the game.
Yeah, and that as well, you know, I noticed, I looked up in the stands at one time, I saw old Mr. Faithful, Stacy Mills there. He was kind of by himself, kind of handling everything by himself until everybody could come along with him. But I started noticing as the night went on, you know, more fans started showing up. So I imagine, you know, I-65 hampered that. But you know, going in, you know, the goal was to start fast. I knew for us to have a chance, we had to start fast. You can't get in a hole versus a team of that caliber, you know, and winning third down battles and those foolish penalties, jumping off sides and things like that. I know, you know, we had to minimize the mistakes.
Sure.
And you know, we gave, you know, I'm gonna speak defensively first. You know, just giving up points in general. There were one where we had a busted call on a corner or whatever. It got the wrong signal. However, you know, that happened, and we had a receiver running wide open, so that was a score. And the rest of the points, man, that we gave up, there were things like sprint draws, and there were screens, you know, stuff that'll capture your eyes if you're not locked in, if you're not disciplined, and things like that. And a lot of that stuff, you know, you fix, you know, just by being able to see what you're supposed to see. get your eyes where they're supposed to be, and then go make a play on the ball. And through the course of the game, our guys got a little antsy with their eyes, and they threw screens and stuff like that, which gave up points. And that's stuff that we can't do, defensively. We can't allow that to happen. Offensively, I want to say that we ran the ball extremely well. We had Tristan Blackman with 128 yards rushing on 18 carries, and then we had Landon Smith come in and with 10 carries with 61 yards. So both of those guys were over 6 yards a carry. So I like to think they ran the ball well. So hats off to our O-line for that, because that team and the caliber of defense that they had, being able to instill a run game like that. That's big. Now the thing that their defense,
O-line too, I'm sure had a big deal to do with that.
Exactly, when they did. Yeah. Be able to sustain that run. The thing that I noticed about their defense throughout the course of the year, they hadn't given up many points. So as well as we ran the ball, when you get closer to the 25, 20-yard line, those guys starting to bow their neck on that side of the ball, on that team, and those guys play extremely well in the red zone. And they did Friday night. We knew that coming in, and they were, good. I think when you look at the stats, whatever coming from our region, they've given up the least amount of points from anybody. So we knew we had to capitalize when we got to the red zone. And that's something that we struggled at Friday night. We didn't get that done. Really couldn't get our throw game rolling. They did a great job in coverage, taking away some of the things that we like and some of the things that we do well. So we had to go back and reevaluate some things and, come up with a plan for the next week going forward. Special teams wise, man, we gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown. First one of the year. That's of course the longest return of the year versus our kickoff. Our kickoff team has been exceptional this year. We had a couple of guys get out of their lane and not squeeze the football. Kind of when you draw it up on the board, you draw it up and this is your responsibility. This is what you do. But then when that ball is starting to be returned, you got to condense those lanes. And we had about 3 guys that didn't condense the lane. They kind of stayed in the previous lane and didn't squeeze the football, and it gave a little space for that return to get out of there. And speed like that, you got to be able to contain it. And how our kickoff is set up, we really take away a portion of the field. So it's important for everybody to get in your lanes and squeeze the football, because we don't want to have to cover the whole field. The way we kick it, if you reverse field on us and go the other way, then it works in our favor, because now we're gonna have guys running free and we'll have guys. But we really, we want to hone in on a third of the field. And, we want to squeeze the ball and cover a third of the field. And I'll say, we've been exceptional there. Paxton Janola had a good night, with his punts. He did a great job fielding the ball. We've been playing with a freshman at long snapper in Bryson Thomas. And, man, he's been doing great, too. To step in that role. And that's a huge role. You don't know how important that is until you don't have one.
Well, you got one starting in a high division college football that you had last year.
So we got one at Bama State. And like I say, I talked to him 2 days ago, and he's won the starting spot. But going in, sometimes guys have these dreams. Hey, I want to play receiver in college, or I want to play O-line in college or D-line in college. But if you have a skill set to snap that ball, you can get your college paid for and play some big time. So we got a kicker and a long snap. We got 2 kickers. We got another kicker over at Charleston Southern. I think it's Charleston Southern. Reed Montgomery starting right now. So the 2 freshmen starting, and then Colin Rogers.
We're going to talk about that one.
We'll
get there in a little bit.
We'll get there. But Paxton Janola did a great job. Bryson Thomas did a great job snapping the ball all night. We got a great job. Did a great job protecting. Coach Bush is in charge of our punt team, and I know we had to shore up our protections there. And, we worked on that all week, and our guys came in, we protected. Really didn't get much pressure coming towards Paxton Friday night, so we were able to get that ball off and get down the field and get a cover in.
And I heard you mention, especially on the defensive side of the ball, there were, and a little bit on special teams on that kickoff return, there were some mistakes made, which on Friday night they hurt, and you don't like them. But on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, there are opportunities to learn. I know you handle those in that direction. What did that look like? So
we bring in our guys on Saturday morning for the ones that participated. I don't care if you got in the game on special teams, offense or defense. We come in first of all for those guys that are banged up. When you're playing high school football, especially at this level, if you're not banged up, then you're not playing hard. So we got guys that are banged up, so we have a recovery workout that we do for those guys, kind of get the blood flowing and kind of loosen those guys up. But the ones that may be concerning, that gives us a chance to get a day ahead on getting them well. So they'll come in and meet with an athletic trainer, and then he will make plans further if he needs to.
Sure.
If it's something that we can't handle in house. But that gives us a couple of days in advance, because if you don't do that, then you bring them in on Monday. They've set up Saturday and Sunday. Now they're going to the doctor on Tuesday because you called them on Monday.
Right.
We're able to kind of get ahead of the game, and if we need to get them there, we're able to do so. So, and then we fix all of our special teams mistakes. And so the thing about the mistakes that we made, all of them are fixable mistakes. They were just, full of things that pertain to our eyes, what they were looking at. They got a different look. You still got to know. You always go back to the details, go back to the basics. Have your eyes where they're supposed to be. And then it'll fix a lot of stuff if you know your job.
And it's a blessing and a curse. You've got a lot of young guys playing, so beautiful for the future, but sometimes there's growing pains.
Yeah, and we're into 7 games now. So we got 7 games worth of film out there.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to line up and do the same thing over and over again.
Right.
You got to be able to adapt. And so some of these guys, it's the first time they're seeing something, seeing a front or seeing a defensive alignment or whatever, seeing a formation if you're a defensive guy, and you got to learn to adjust. And all you do is go back to your rules. Although you may not have seen this formation or you may not have seen this alignment, what does your rule tell you?
Right.
Go back to your rule, have your eyes where they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
and it all work out. But man, it's easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah. We'll come back to that in just a little bit, because I love where you're going with that. Fans, we're so glad that you're tuned in to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show tonight. Those of you listening on Dixie Country 100.1, we're glad you're listening. We'd invite you. We're here live at El Patron Mexican Grill. We've got some of the Lions Nation. They knew that it was on Wednesday this week, so didn't get caught by surprise. We even have a grandfather of a player, one of my favorite guys in town, Mr. Ronnie Robertson. Gavin Rigdon's grandfather is here. So what's up, Mr. Ronnie? Thank you for coming. We're so glad you're tuned into the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey guys, it's Chris Britton, host of the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We're so excited to be coming to you live each week from my favorite Mexican restaurant, El Patron Mexican Grill, at 2152 Cobbs Ford Road, right across the street from Larry Puckett's Chevrolet. They got a huge menu with all of your favorite authentic Mexican dishes. My kids love it. In fact, they get a free drink with their kids' meal, so that's an awesome perk. If you go on a Sunday after church, bring your bulletin with you, you get a 10% discount. My personal favorite is the chicken chimichanga. It's fantastic. El Patron Mexican Grill in Prattville.
For well over 50 years, the river region has depended on Arrow Pest Control, which has grown to be one of the largest and most respected pest control science leaders in the area. Pest control is a science that eliminates pests that invade and potentially damage your property. They use only the top-rated pest control products, including the Centricon Termite Colony Elimination System. Arrow Pest Control was built on customer service and satisfaction, and that's still #1 today. Call us, 334-365-4610, and find out about mosquito control. Arrow, your best shot for pest control.
It's the Make This the Summer event at Stivers, and no payments until November. New Ram 2500s, 20,000 off. Or new Ram 1500 Bighorns, get 13,000 off. Only at
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
Only Stivers has 0% APR financing for up to 36 months during the Make This the Summer event. Upgrade to Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, Gladiator, or Compass with no interest financing for 3 years for a limited time at
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
Why? It's...
Oh, hey, we are back, and I didn't know it. Welcome back, Lions Nation. You're listening to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We're so glad you're tuned in. Those of you listening to us on Dixie Country 100.1, and those of you tuned in watching us on Prattville Live, we're so glad you're a part of the show. We are coming to you live from El Patron Mexican Grill in Prattville. So if you're out driving around, there's plenty of food and plenty of room for you. We'd love to have you come join us live here at the restaurant. Well, Coach, we're joined by a guest this segment. Won't you introduce us a little bit? And you can throw in if you want. I heard that maybe there were some challenges to race each other several years ago, and maybe you were a little faster. I don't know, but you take it wherever you want.
Well, I like to think I was. But,
Okay.
And I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
And while I got the mic, I can, kind of swing this thing however I want.
And the show is called the J.B. Wallace Show.
Yeah. But today, we have our girls basketball coach, Coach Dubois. You know, she's a Prattville great. She graduated from Prattville, played for Prattville and all that good stuff. Heck of an athlete. Man, she coaches hard. She's very knowledgeable. Sometimes I sit back and I watch her interact with her girls, and man, she builds family. She just builds that core that you need to have a successful program, and she exemplifies that. And I'm honored to have her on tonight. Now, before I turn it over to her, and I'm gonna speak on that because I was being kind of petty with the race part of it. You know, we kind of grew up in the same area, and I kind of always heard how fast she could run.
Yeah.
And I saw her run. And I didn't want to believe it. And to be honest, I kind of stayed out of her way because I didn't never want anybody to say, hey, y'all.
There's a girl faster than you.
Yeah, but it never happened, so therefore we can't prove. But I'm telling you, she was fast.
I got you.
I'm telling you she was fast.
I think if y'all race today,
man, that weather kind of cool out there.
We're a little old. The muscles get a little tight. I'm with you.
I don't want it today either.
Well, Coach Dubois, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank
so
you,
glad.
guys.
I love football. I love sports, but basketball is my favorite. I'm a Kentucky guy, so I've watched you. You got this. This will be your 4th year, 3 years or 4 years at Prattville.
This will actually be my 6th year at Prattville, 5th year head coach.
Right. Okay. So I remember the program that you took over. Just we're struggling to get wins, and then the 2nd year it got considerably better. The next year it got considerably better. Now we're talking about back-to-back Final Fours. So one of my and you do a great job. We've talked about this, but one of my favorite things that you develop is the young ladies that play on your team. They would fight anybody in the world for you and for each other. I mean, you develop what people want on a team, a family. So anyway, thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
But talk about the program, a little bit about women's basketball at Prattville High School.
Okay, well, that's funny you say that because they call themselves my little bodyguards. The program's come a long way. Like I said, this is my 6th year at Prattville High. When I first came on, I was an assistant coach, and it wasn't looking too hot.
Sure.
My next year, I was the head coach, and we won a few more games, but it was a rebuilding, and they just had to learn to trust the process. They had to embrace the hard work because it's a lot of hard work in our program. And the year after that, we actually went to the Sweet 16. So we went to the Sweet 16, and then, like you said, it's been back-to-back Final Fours. But I think it comes down to, like you said, it's family.
Sure.
But those girls put in a lot of hard work, and I'm not just saying it. Summertime, they're lifting and running and conditioning and probably crying and complaining to parents, but they put in the hard work, so therefore they know how much they've done, so they believe what they can do, if that makes sense.
No, totally, yeah.
So it's like, you're training physically to be strong, but they don't even know it sometimes that they are just becoming mentally strong.
And that's the thing. And it's like with the progress you've seen, it's like the first year y'all went to the Final Four, I think you ran into a team that was really, really, really good, first of all.
Amen.
I mean, how many college players did they have on their roster?
The whole 5, the whole starting 5.
But then you go back last year, and you didn't lose by too many points in the Final Four against the team that took that same Hoover team the year before and really took them to the brink. I mean, that close.
Right. To be honest, last year we kind of played ourselves out of that game. It was our game to win, and circumstances, it didn't fall our way. But I think the beauty about last year is now they really believe, because that's what it takes. Now they really believe they can compete. They really know that they can compete. It's not just like, we go to the Final Four and maybe they know that they can compete. So I love the fact that we went through that, because the hunger this year, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, now getting there is not good enough.
Right.
Been there, done that twice.
Right.
Now we need to win it. I'm sure it's the mindset.
Exactly. And that's all, especially this core of seniors. I have 4 seniors this year, so it's a good bit of my starting 5. But their mentality, the confidence that I see in them that we've not seen before, I know that came from the fact of, going, not accomplishing what you want to accomplish, but knowing the work you've put in and now knowing what we can accomplish.
Sure.
So I'm excited to see what they can do this year.
You had, of course, every team you deal with this every year. You lose seniors, and you had a handful last year. In fact, with the kind of the journey I've watched, I watch it almost in terms of Euleria.
Yeah.
I mean, she started off and she could only go one way.
Oh,
and the
good.
next year she could go either way. And the next year she's knocking down mid-range jumpers. And next year it was just that steady progression. And,
right.
And I'm not saying she was the reason why y'all did so good. She's the one that stands out to me. While everybody kept getting better, now your seniors this year, sky's the limit, kind of.
Yeah, well, Euleria needs that spotlight. Euleria, she came a long way, and just to give her moment. When I first saw Euleria, it was 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I was helping my dad with Parks and Rec, and I remember looking at that little girl, and I was like, Dad, I want to coach her one day. And it's just crazy that I ended up at Prattville, and her freshman year, she started varsity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first got Euleria, and she's going to be upset that I always tell this, Euleria was shooting with 2 hands.
Yeah.
She's a lefty, but she was shooting the
I remember
grandma
that.
shot.
Yeah.
And like you said, she could only go left, and she had 2 torn ACLs.
Mm-hmm.
So her only full basketball seasons that she had was 6th grade, 7th grade was a torn ACL, 8th grade was a torn ACL,
Mm-hmm.
then being coached by me her 9th grade year.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she kind of had me all her life.
Right.
So she put in the work, and I to be honest, she's got one of the best left-hand jump shots that I've seen, and it's the most pure thing I've come across to come from shooting a grandma shot.
Sure.
But she was a genuine leader on this team, and a lot of girls looked up to her, saw her work ethic. She really kind of exemplified what hard work, being a part of the Prattville Lady Lions was. So this program, her and people like Grace Downey, Marie Downey, Dejaria Lewis, Keziah, it was built on their backs.
Yeah, that's right.
And
you can never have too many Downies, by the way.
That's the secret sauce. Don't tell anybody.
That's right.
That's the secret sauce. My Downey girls, that's the secret sauce.
Well, that's right. That's right. So this coming year, I know you got a ton of talent still coming back.
Right.
I want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, I only lost one senior, and that was Euleria. So we have the same group coming back. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is the ones that were here last year, they've improved, and not just improved a little bit, they've improved drastically. But like I said, they put in the work, so they have no choice but to improve. So I think it's going to be, and a lot of people talk about the pace that we play and the intensity that we play with. I think it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're hungrier because they've been there, and we still haven't accomplished what we want to accomplish, what we want to accomplish. So this group that we have coming back, I'm really excited to see, what they'll do this season.
Sure. Depth-wise, how you looking? Because last year you had a couple of young girls that would come in spot moments later on.
Right.
I can't remember her name. There's one young lady that went off for like 12 points in the last 2 minutes one night. I mean, so I feel like there's a little extra depth there that maybe you haven't had in the past.
It will be. We have a lot of incoming freshmen that have talent. Their talent level is more than what we've seen.
Sure.
But, with me, I like for them to get that JV in them just to, to get used to the pace, because like I said, the pace we play at. So it's going to, like I tell them, and I let the world know, it's up to them how much, they play on varsity. But we do have a lot of young talent, a lot of young talent. And we talk about the Downey girls, but I also have another little clan, the Lewis clan. And, and those little girls, they are some real deal athletes. So once we get, the mindset that big sister Dejaria had, and they understand.
She was just fearless.
She was she was a ridiculous. She was a post player that could guard guards and could bring the ball up the court. And she's still playing basketball right now. She just transferred, and she's still playing basketball right now. So I expect the same from the 3 little sisters that we have now.
Sure.
We have 3 more Lewises coming up, and 2 more Downeys.
The cupboard is full.
I mean.
Now, all right, so you said it, like you coached Parks and Rec League with your dad.
Right.
Now he's your assistant.
He is my assistant. I don't
Who's
go
the better basketball mind?
I mean, I have to give it to him because everything that I know, I learned from the greats. So I have to give it to him. Shout out, Dad. But Between him, my dad, Frederick Edwards, and my high school coach, Coach Peak, a legend.
Yeah.
A legend.
Well, he was there for just,
Exactly.
he's proud. He's watching just about every night.
He was at every game, every Final Four he was there, every game he was there, every home game and some away.
Yeah.
So between the two of them and JUCO coach Madonna Thompson, I don't think that I could go wrong, but I have to give it to him. He's the better basketball coach. He taught me everything I know.
There you go. Well, that's a smart thing to say anyway. Well, and we kind of touched on this one in introduction, but talk a little bit about just, again, that family, the culture that you have built. I can't imagine a basketball team having a better culture around. I'll say
right.
that.
I'm big on holding each other accountable.
Sure.
So, like I said, and when I say it, it's so very true. They work hard. I mean, when you hear the term blood, sweat, and tears, they have it all.
Yeah.
And I think that brings a type of unity. It's like they bond with each other over sometimes that disgust for me. So it's like, oh, she gets on our nerves.
Enemy.
Yeah, so I'm the common enemy, and I love it. It's great, but
if you're an enemy to them, it's only for a second or two at a time.
I mean, if a second. Those seriously my babies, but they bond over the summer. That's why I want summertime to be as strenuous as possible.
Sure.
I want it to be as hard as possible, and they lean on each other a lot. And like anybody that you would have to lean on in the world, you create that bond.
Sure.
And I emphasize to them, if one girl messes up, then you all mess up. Like
Sure.
if one girl comes and she forgot her practice shorts, we're all running.
Right.
And that run is not just a simple run. No, it's, oh my goodness, this woman's trying to make us puke run. So I make them hold each other accountable. That also builds the bond and the family that I think they take seriously. They know my love for them. I think that kind of trickles down to them, so
Sure.
they love on each other the same way.
Yeah.
But I call them a little clan, and they are. Where you see one, you'll see
Yeah.
three more.
Yeah.
And I
I'll see
can't
them at
walk
football
into
games
school.
and they're all.
Oh
they're
yeah.
all together.
Oh yeah. Always together. And if I walk in, it's like, a leash.
Yeah.
They Coach D, and it's not
Yeah.
letting go. So I mean, I love it. I do know that it's important to have that type of bond for us
Sure.
to win. We're not as big as everybody else,
Right.
but we're going to outwork you. We're going to, be that team that's going to hound you all the time, and that just comes down to communicating. To me, communicating means the best communication is, family.
Yeah.
Who do you communicate better
Sure.
with than your family? So I just make sure that they understand that, that's a big part of
Sure.
our success.
We just got a minute left in this segment, but I do want to throw one more thing to you. We talked about on-court team family stuff.
Right.
Well, a 7A basketball program doesn't just show up for the game. There's
Right.
fundraising, there's things like that.
Right.
What are some ways the community can get involved? I mean, through the Booster Club maybe? I mean, what are some areas they could help or pass?
We'll have a fundraiser coming up. We do an annual T-shirt fundraiser, and we do generic T-shirts. So it's not just Lady Lions, it's Prattville.
Sure.
It's Prattville basketball. So we'll have a T-shirt sale coming up. We'll have our tropical smoothie cards that we have coming up. Then we'll be doing different types of fundraisers that we always put out on our social
Sure.
media pages.
I'm sure there's sponsorship opportunities for businesses
Exactly,
as well.
and the girls will be going out and talking to local businesses about sponsorships. That'll be coming soon, so expect some knocks. But
Sure.
outside of that, anytime they want to donate, we're always at the gym.
Come on.
We're always there.
I hear you. Coach, anything else? Any parting shots?
Yeah, I'll say this. She talked about how hard they work and they lean on each other. And I know our times kind of meet each other in the summer when we're doing our summer work, and I see the work that they're putting in, their off-season summer workout, and she's right. She's putting it on them now.
Yeah.
She's putting them on them, but they are leaning on each other.
You see the results on the court.
You see the results. You see the team chemistry. You see all those things. So she's doing a great job. They're the girls. They're doing a great job. They love each other. I think you got a great thing going.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
And we're going to set up a race later on.
He don't want those problems.
Yeah.
She still got it.
Well, fans, thank you so much for tuning in to the J.B. Wallace Show tonight. Those of you listening on Dixie Country 100.1. Also, those of you watching us on Prattville Live. You're listening to the J.B. Wallace Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Durbin Auto Parts on South Memorial Drive is proud to be a supporter of Prattville Lions Athletics. As your locally owned CarQuest dealer, the Durbin family assures you that they'll get the right parts the first time. They also carry the full line of steel power equipment and die-hard batteries. When you do business with Durbin Auto Parts, your money stays in Prattville so they can support the local community and great programs like Prattville Lions Athletics. Durbin Auto Parts, 948 South Memorial Drive, Prattville.
Think local. Think of all the skill and talent found right here in our community. Hands that build, hands that feed, teach, protect, and hands that heal. Guardian Credit Union reaches out to people just like you. Handling loans for new cars, opening doors to new homes, saying yes to fun and adventure. When you need a strong, steady financial hand, think local. Think Guardian.
It's the Make This the Summer event at Stivers and no payments until November. New Ram 2500s, $20,000 off. Or new Ram 1500 Bighorns, get $13,000 off. Only at
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
only Stivers has 0% APR financing for up to 36 months during the Make This the Summer event. Upgrade to Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, Gladiator, or Compass with no interest financing for 3 years for a limited time at
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
Well, good evening. Welcome back, Prattville Lions Nation. You're listening to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. I'm your host, Chris Britton, and we're so glad that you've tuned in tonight. Coach, we've come up to the segment of the show where we give out the Pepsi Buffalo Rock Player of the Game for last week. Why don't you give us a little introduction, tell us a little bit about the young man that's being awarded with that tonight.
Yeah, this week our Pepsi Buffalo Rock Player of the Game is a gentleman that plays D-line for us. I view him as a captain. You know, he's the one that he's gonna get the party started now. He's the one that's gonna jump the thing off. Great attitude, man. He's a leader. All the things that you want from a guy that's a leader from day to day. Works his tail off. You know, had seen a challenge that he hadn't embraced and went to go get. So he's very deserving of this award. You know, kind of been a little banged up this year, but man, hadn't complained one bit, fought through it. So when you think about the definition of a gladiator and a guy like that, it's definitely Jamari Reed, which is our Buffalo Rock Pepsi Player of the Game.
Jamari, congratulations, buddy. Here's your plaque. Congratulations on that. Well, why don't you take us through last week's performance? I know it's not an individual effort, but talk a little bit about the individual for a minute.
I'll say we went at halftime. You know, it was 42-0. And I overcame all the stuff that Coach Wallace and the rest of the coaches taught us about finishing through the whole game. Yeah. And I picked my head up and I went out there and dominated.
Yeah. Well, and I'd imagine, I guess, let's talk about leadership a little bit. I don't think it was just you. Other guys follow along with you. Did you kind of inspire that a little bit, maybe?
Yes, sir.
Well, talk about that a little bit. Who are some of the other guys up there with you?
I'd say Tim Robinson, Trey Robinson, Jordan Obanigba. Yeah. And AJ Moncrief, he did better than what he did in the first half. And Jake McConnell, Elijah Brown, and those guys. Yeah. After halftime, you know, we was all down and stuff. Yeah. But we couldn't let that come to us, even though we didn't let them score no more. Yeah. After halftime.
Pitched your shutout in the second half. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. All right, so what year in school are you?
2025.
All right, so you got one more. I mean, you're a junior. So
I'm a senior.
Senior. Sorry. Yeah.
I wish you was a junior.
Yeah, right. Do you want to come back and have a fifth year of eligibility like college? Can we do that?
Yeah, I'll take it.
What are your plans after high school? Do you hope to continue playing football, or what are you looking at?
I hope to continue playing football.
Yeah, well, you got anybody in mind, or just kind of waiting and seeing, or?
I'm waiting and seeing right now.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's get a little, personal outside of football. So, let's talk movies. Do you have a favorite movie?
I'd say Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. Any specific, the whole series, or any specific one of them?
I really like the last one that just came out.
Pretty good. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll check it out. I'll give you my critique on it.
It's a very good movie.
Okay, cool. Do you have a favorite sports movie in the sports genre? A lot of guys go with Remember the Titans. Because it's a football movie.
Mm-hmm.
I say.
Okay. Man, I gave him his answer. That's not fair. I'm not supposed to do that. So when you're on your way to the stadium or, listen, you got your AirPods in, whatever, who you listening to?
Lil Baby.
Lil Baby, okay. Exclusively or?
I want to say that, not just him.
Yeah. Maybe
I say Lil Baby or Rod Wave.
Okay, cool. Now he's coming to Birmingham for too long, isn't he?
Yes,
You
sir.
will try to make it? What's
Yes,
up? Hey, all right, can I go with you? I don't know. Chaperone? No, I'm kidding. Can't make it. But, all right. Now, this one is kind of a tough question. We usually ask it, but the ladies are wanting to know. I see the smile, Coach. Do they have a chance, or are you sewn up at the moment?
No chance. I have a girlfriend.
Okay, all right. Now, if she wasn't listening, no, I'm kidding. No, we don't want to do that. All right. Well, Coach, tell me some more. Talk about Jamari and his effort last week, just a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I mean, excellent effort last week, but man, one thing I'm gonna brag on him is his excellent effort every day.
Yeah.
In whatever we're doing, no matter if it's in the weight room, no matter if it's whatever, excellent effort all the way around. He's one of those kind of guys which, when you have your punt team, for instance, you have a certain kind of guy you want on that punt team.
Right.
Because you got to have trustworthy guys that can protect the punter. I'd like to have him on there, but he's got the same number as the punter.
Oh.
And I couldn't get either one of them to budge. But he's the kind of guy that you would want on that punt team.
Yeah.
He's the guy that you want anchoring the front of your D line to kind of, be the leader for your defense, and that's what he is, man. I've been so proud of him and how he's, handled everything this year and how he's performed. Just keep on working.
Keep on working. Jamari, congratulations. Thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Appreciate you. Keep on the good work and keep on leading those other guys that are performing with you.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, that's not the only award that are presented on a weekly basis. Why don't you walk us through some of the other awards from this past week?
Okay. Our Offensive Player of the Week is going to be Brian Moody. We moved him from left tackle to center. He came in, snapped the ball for us, did a great job, gave us a good push up the middle of our offense there. So I was proud of his performance. Defensively, Darryl Washington, sophomore, who played against a very good receiver last week and held his own. His best days are going to be ahead of him. Our money team offensive player of the week is Maurice White, which is a freshman O-lineman who's been giving us a real good look and may find himself on the field, in some limited roles for our offense in the next few weeks.
I see some of those big guys at practice. You got some size coming in the future.
Yeah, the best is yet to come. And money team defense is a guy that scraps every day, and he's not worried about making friends on the field. I mean, he's a worker, and he gets after it, and it's going to be Brock Payton.
Yeah.
So those are our players of the week.
And how's the academic team? I know we don't have a player.
Right. That goes through Coach Bourne. But academically, study hall is typically on Thursday, and so Ms. Garden, Ms. Harper usually keeps us abreast on who's academically in trouble and all that. We got a 9 weeks coming, so. A 9 weeks in coming, so we'll know a lot about academically where we are right now, some of the things we need to hone in there. But it's definitely in the forefront of our program and what's important.
Well, I mean, you got guys that aren't playing just now. Like Jamari, they expect to be playing on the next level.
That's right.
Well, you got to take care of it in the classroom first.
You got to be academically eligible. And academics, that's something that should not be a reason to keep you off the field.
Right.
That should be a no-brainer. You got that handled, so now to go perform and be the best player you can be.
That's right. Well, Jamari, again, thanks for being here with us tonight. Coach, thank you for sharing those awards with us. Well, fans, we're going to go on to a break in just a moment. We're so glad that you're tuned into the J.B. Wallace Show. Those of you listening to us on Dixie Country 100.1, thanks for tuning in. Also, those of you watching us live or later on the Prattville Live Facebook network, thanks for being a part of the show. This is the J.B. Wallace Show. We'll be back after this break.
Hey guys, it's Chris Britton, host of the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We're so excited to be coming to you live each week from my favorite Mexican restaurant, El Patron Mexican Grill, at 2152 Cobbs Ford Road, right across the street from Larry Puckett Chevrolet. They get a huge menu with all of your favorite authentic Mexican dishes. My kids love it. In fact, they get a free drink with their kids' meal, so that's an awesome perk. If you go on a Sunday after church, bring your bulletin with you, you get a 10% discount. My personal favorite is the chicken chimichanga. It's fantastic. El Patron Mexican Grill in Prattville.
For well over 50 years, the River region has depended on Arrow Pest Control, which has grown to be one of the largest and most respected pest control science leaders in the area. Pest control is a science that eliminates pests that invade and potentially damage your property. They use only the top-rated pest control products, including the Centricon termite colony elimination system. Arrow Pest Control was built on customer service and satisfaction, and that's still #1 today. Call us 334-365-4610 and find out about mosquito control. Arrow, your best shot for pest control.
It's the Make This the Summer event at Stivers and no payments until November. New Ram 2500s, $20,000 off. Or new Ram 1500 Bighorns, get $13,000 off. Only at
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
Only Stivers has 0% APR financing for up to 36 months during the Make This the Summer event. Upgrade to Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, Gladiator, or Compass with no interest financing for 3 years for a limited time at...
Welcome back, Lions Nation. You're listening to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. I'm your host, Chris Britton. We're so glad that you tuned in tonight. If you are listening to us live on the radio, I'd invite you to come and be with us live. We got a little bit more Coach's Show left. We're coming to you from El Patron Mexican Grill on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, right across the street from Larry Puckett Chevrolet. So come and join us. We'd love to have you. We got an early night this week, being on Wednesday, because we got a ball game at the Jungle East home game for the Lions tomorrow night. Well, Coach, we're joined by one of your staff members tonight. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the guy that's with us now?
Yeah, all right. Tonight we have on the Coach's Show is Coach KP, Coach Page. He brings a wealth of knowledge to the game, man, and just some of the things that he says and just watching how he moves. He understands the game. He understands the athlete, the mentality, even the coach's standpoint, because he's seen some things. He's been some places, seen some things, and everything is a pattern to it. You get to choose which way you want to direct that pattern. But very knowledgeable, man. He coaches our running backs and also helps out with our strength and conditioning program. So we're so thankful to have him in our program. But Coach KP is on our show tonight.
Coach Kurt Page. Coach, thank you for being a part of the show.
Thank you, sir.
Now, you're no stranger to coaching. I believe it's in your family's blood, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that lineage and about your coaching career.
Well, my hero in life is Tony Page. So when I was a little bitty boy, if he played football, I was going to play football. If he rode a bike, I was going to ride a bike. And he taught me how to pass the ball, how to punt the ball, and everything else. So I was the youngest of 6 boys. He is the oldest, and our brother. So for me to get a chance to coach at Prattville was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
When Coach called and they had an opening, it's just a perfect position for me. I oversee the strength and conditioning. We have a lot of great staff members that do things, and coaches well equipped at what we're doing. And my thing is just I'm really technique oriented and getting guys to. If you talk to any of our guys, they'll say eyes up, chin up, chest up. And that's what I tell them all the time.
Yeah.
And so we really try to stay fundamentals. And I've been a head coach for a number of years in Tennessee and in Georgia and in Texas. The SEC footprint, really, if you will. Sure. So I've been a head coach there, won a state championship in Tennessee, and coached a lot of guys. And a lot of my guys, the real tribute that I have is a lot of my guys that I've coached are now in teaching and coaching, and
that's pretty cool.
Very, very grateful for that. And as Coach will tell you, that's we're molding young men, but there's not a lot of people going into the coaching profession, so we really try to speak to them and preach to them the very good things that are happening. And we're really, the sport is one of the in all athletic sports, and being a collegiate or scholastic at this level. It's very, very important in molding young people. So that's what we're all about. And Coach's philosophy fit in exactly with mine: eliminating emotional interference and building staff unity. It's a very hard thing to do this day and time with social media and all the likes and dislikes and wars that are going on that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
So trying to get them to focus in and block for each other and train for each other and play for each other. And that's what Coach is really building here. Our 7th and 8th grade teams have an outstanding season. He's been there all their games. Our 9th graders have an outstanding season. So we have a lot of young guys, and then we're playing a lot of guys on the varsity right now, like my backfield guys. Both of them are juniors.
Yeah.
So they're great performers. They're going to be back for next season. So they're just really coming up from a JV season, playing varsity. And in this league at 7A, it's the best of the best. There's more state champions in this region than any other region combined.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you how
highly competitive.
Highly competitive. Yes,
No doubt.
sir.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that? And you mentioned it, but that running back room, the guys that you're working directly with.
Yeah, love those two guys. I'm big in nicknames. I can't learn guys' names at first. There's so many players.
Sure.
So when I first got to school there with Coach JB, I saw this young man walking in. He said he was a running back. I said, "You're Eddie George." And lo and behold, that's his favorite player.
How you like that?
I mean, God just puts you at places and this time and so. And then my other running back is Landon Smith, and I kept watching him, and I just could think of Marshall Falk, Kevin Falk at LSU. So I said, "You're Falk," because he can catch and run. He's a little bit undersized, but his heart is so big, and Coach sees value in that too, like I do. And our offensive coordinator, shout out to Coach Dickerson.
Yeah.
You know, he really lets us, really develop those guys and, bring something to the offense. And then the sniffers, I have two seniors there that are undersized guys that try to block on 270, 280 pounders at defensive ends, big guys. So those two guys have really, really played hard this whole season, and they've got 3 more ball games that were guaranteed. So that's what we're looking for those guys. But Tristan Blackman is 229 yards away from 1,000.
How about that?
So we really want him to reach that goal. And the big thing is the offensive line and the sniffers, they want that to happen too.
Yeah.
So
and you talked about that playing for each other.
They do. They play for each other, and then it's instilled into them whenever little kids here in Prattville that they get to play community ball, and they grow right up and go into 6, 7 to junior high, and they're playing there. And so, it's just a matter of time that we're going to get over that edge. We've had a little tough run here of late with some good teams. And I'll tell you what, Prattville's name, it brings out everybody's best shot. It really does.
Yeah.
I've been down south at Mary G, and, we knew about Prattville. I was around some Prattville players, former players, Alex Page and Zach Golson, and they know the prestige.
They are Prattville, or were Prattville, or still are.
Yeah, they are. You're always Prattville.
Yeah.
So, they're pulling for us as well. But it's just a tough conference we're in, and
no doubt.
We've been able to win some games early, but we got to get off of there and win. We got to win tomorrow night, and that's been our focus. To win tomorrow night.
The next one up, yes, definitely.
Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about overseeing the weight room, the training program. That's not a small thing. It's all built around that these days.
Yeah, really a shout out to our superintendent. He really kind of revamped it, and we've hired a full-time athletic director. And so each program is now developing their own strength position, sport-specific stuff. So football will be no different. So when I got here in June, Coach already had the program going, and Coach Dickerson and a number of other coaches. So it really takes all of us to make the best thing work. And what we're looking for this off-season will be position-specific stuff where certain guys can really go where they need to go get trained and have workout programs for them, like the D-line. I was talking to Coach Bush earlier today, some things he really wants to be stressed. Our offensive line coach, some things they want to be stressed, our linebackers. And so we've been doing that, but we're really going to, now that we've been together, because we have a number of new staff members, Coach Bush, myself, Coach Bullen, Coach Gobble, we're all new coaches. And the big thing is just we all getting on the same page and getting ready for our off season, because our freshmen are going to be finishing up. And then we're going to really have to start really pouring into them and getting them in the weight room, because where you build your ball team, Coach will tell you, and that's what we've been doing, is January, February, and March. And I wasn't here during that time, but that's where I really like to make hay and really, really put some good work in these kids. And I know they did, but I wasn't part of it, and I want to be a part of it coming up, moving forward. And I know Coach will set that direction. He does a great job with everything we've been doing, and we have a great facility. And so we just got to keep working and get the younger kids in there, and then get the junior high kids over there and get them going too. So it's an exciting time. For me, it's exciting.
It is, and I love what you're saying, kind of tailoring programs, not just for the whole team or not just for office, but per position group. I think that's important. That's cool.
I've already kind of started that, and each position coach does that already in their EDD. Coach will tell you everyday drills. So what we got to do is take, and I call the weight room the class. So we take everything that you do in the class to the grass. So whatever your everyday drills are, we can't do it with football, and we're not going to be practicing, but like we're going to do some maneuver and stuff, some balance and stuff. So like the running backs and the linebackers, they'll do more stuff with some sleds, and they'll do stuff there that'll help them, advance and get stronger in the position that they're playing, like running back or linebacker. So you want to train the second level guys the same as you want to train the first level, the linemen. So there's a lot of stuff there, and our coaches will have time to spend together. Today was a great day. We had testing going on, so a lot of the staff members were there in the facility, and we were able to kind of talk about, because we really hadn't had time. We hit the ground running.
In season,
been busy season, but we do want to get to that win number 5 tomorrow night.
That's right.
And then we want to shock the world like Vanderbilt shocked the world at Alabama. That's the same thing we want to do for Thompson. We want to go right in there and shock the world.
I love it.
And then the last game is we're getting back into Stanford, our home field stadium, which I've never coached in. I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be cool. Now, speaking of Vanderbilt, shocking the world with Alabama, it was brought to my attention that you played quarterback at Vanderbilt just a few years ago.
We wore helmets back then.
Were they leather? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's okay. It was black and white TV, though.
So, all right, so you played for them, and I was made aware that before 2 weeks ago, you were the quarterback. You were quarterback for the last Vanderbilt team to beat Alabama. How about that?
We beat them in Tuscaloosa. I was growing up as a kid. Tony Page, my Big T, will tell you, I grew up wanting to play quarterback at Alabama. My heroes are Kenny Stabler and Joe Namath.
Yeah.
I learned to pass the football in Joe Namath's book. I rented it from the library. That's how I learned to pass the football. We didn't have internet back then, so you had to go to the library and get the book. So that's how I learned.
Copy.
And then I learned he was from Beaver Falls. He went to Alabama, so I wanted to go to Alabama since I was a little bitty kid. And so at the last minute, Vanderbilt called me May 31st, and I got a full ride. I was going to Alabama as a walk-on quarterback and for Coach Bryant. So just blessed that in '84 we beat them at Tuscaloosa. So I'm really proud of Diego Pavia that he won the game.
Yeah.
And so now I don't have to do those interviews anymore. 40 years is a long time.
That's right.
That's a long time.
I was proud for him against Alabama, but I'm a Kentucky man. It hurt my feelings when they beat us. So.
I thought of you because I knew you were a Kentucky man.
I'm going to let him slide. Well, Coach, talk about Coach Page just a little bit more. We just got about 30 seconds.
Yeah, man, energy, just the energy.
You can see that.
Yes, sir, the energy and the knowledge. I mean, it don't matter what's going on. He's going to say something at practice. You're going to say, hey, let's get this thing going, because he just said something that done light the fire, So we're glad to have him on board, man. He's definitely an asset to what we're building.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, thank you so much for stopping by, taking out the time today. Appreciate you, buddy.
Great job, JB Wallace.
That's right. Well, fans, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Those of you listening to us on Dixie Country 100.1, we're glad you're here. Also, those of you watching us on Prattville Live on Facebook, we're so glad you're with us as well. Again, this is the JB Wallace Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Durbin Auto Parts on South Memorial Drive is proud to be a supporter of Prattville Lions Athletics. As your locally owned CarQuest dealer, the Durbin family assures you that they'll get the right parts the first time. They also carry the full line of steel power equipment and die-hard batteries. When you do business with Durbin Auto Parts, your money stays in Prattville so they can support the local community and great programs like Prattville Lions Athletics. Durbin Auto Parts, 948 South Memorial Drive, Prattville.
Think local. Think of all the skill and talent found right here in our community. Hands that build, hands that feed, teach, protect, and hands that heal. Guardian Credit Union reaches out to people just like you. Handling loans for new cars, opening doors to new homes, saying yes to fun and adventure. When you need a strong, steady financial hand, think local. Think Guardian.
It's the Make This the Summer event at Stivers, and no payments until November. New Ram 2500s, $20,000 off. Or new Ram 1500 Bighorns, get $13,000 off. Only at
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
Only Stivers has 0% APR financing for up to 36 months during the Make This the Summer event. Upgrade to Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, Gladiator, or Compass with no interest financing for 3 years for a limited time at
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
Welcome back, Lions fans. This is the J.B. Wallace Show. I'm your host, Chris Britton. We're so glad you're tuned in this evening. Coach, it's been a great show. One of my favorite ones. I think you get better every week, man. I mean, let's just keep doing this thing for at least 6 or 7 more weeks on through the playoffs. I like it. Let's do it. So we're going to revisit a segment that we started up called Who Do You Like?
Okay.
We got to recap last week and see who did you like and how they did. We had South Carolina, Alabama. You picked Bama. They didn't cover, but you were correct. Bama won. Good call there. Texas, Oklahoma, you called that one. Texas won. Florida, Tennessee, you picked Tennessee. They did win. They didn't cover, but hey, a win's a win, right? Not so great, though. Not so fast. Ole Miss, LSU, you had Ole Miss. I kind of felt like going to Death Valley at night was a recipe for destruction for Ole Miss, and it happened. And then great ball game out on the West Coast. Ohio State went out to Oregon, and you had Ohio State on that one. Oregon picked up the dub. This week, we're going to move quickly. Auburn Tigers are at Missouri. Missouri's favored by 4.5. They're ranked 19 in the country. Who do you like?
God almighty.
You want to like Auburn, I know. I mean,
yeah, I'm going with Auburn.
You heard it here first. The upset on the road, Auburn's going to win it. I like that one. I'm waiting for them to have a breakout game. This might be it.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is going to Georgia Tech. Notre Dame's ranked. Georgia Tech's not. Notre Dame's favored by 11. Who do you like?
I like Georgia Tech, and I like Georgia Tech by 2.
We're 2 for 2. I like Georgia Tech as well. I really feel like they're going to pull off the upset at home. I don't know. I could be wrong. LSU at Arkansas, ranked number 8. They're favored by 2.5. Who do you like?
LSU.
Okay. I need to mark these. I like Arkansas in that one. I just have a feeling. Being at Arkansas, I don't know. Maybe it's because they got a new basketball coach. That's going to help them. I don't know. Coach Cal. The University of Kentucky in the swamp.
Let's go with Kentucky.
Hey, I like that. Come on. Former Prattville player Cam Shanks, UAB Blazers are going to South Florida.
I'm not betting against Cam Shanks.
Come on.
I'm with Cam.
Let's go UAB. Former Prattville Lion Legatron, Colin Rogers, SMU at Stanford, favored by 16.5.
I ain't betting against the leg.
SMU, baby. Yeah. Alabama at Tennessee. Tough one.
It's a tough one. I think Tennessee. I think Tennessee is going to win it.
Tennessee. I like Alabama because I'm scared not to. Just saying. Georgia and Texas. Last one. Big ball game at Texas.
Georgia.
All right. Now rush through them because we got a ball game tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
Home game in Wetumpka, the Jungle East. Let's talk about the Lions as they take on Hillcrest. Hillcrest Tuscaloosa tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, got a game versus another region opponent. Hillcrest is traditionally this year they've been a team that's going to give you some. I'm speaking of their offense. They're going to get under the center some. They're going to run some old smash mouth I formation football. Then all of a sudden they'll spread it out and they'll throw the ball. Their personality doesn't really change from under the center to spread it out because their throw game is very similar when they're under the center. Like they're not trying to be a zone team or a zone read team. They're going to do what they do. And I think Coach Mitchell, man, the head coach there, I think he does a great job of teaching those guys to get downhill and all that. And they got downhill linemen. They got backs that get downhill. They got some little jitterbug type of backs. The quarterback's a bigger size young man, is strong and throws the ball well. They got very good receivers from the top to the bottom there. I think overall, just as an offense as a whole, we definitely got to be on our P's and Q's defensively. We got to stop the run. Because they're going to try to get you in the third and short situations. We got to stop the run in early downs. We also can't give up big plays like we've been giving them up. We got to play with eye discipline and all that kind of stuff and not give up big plays. And we got to get hats to the ball. We started off great getting hats to the ball.
11 men.
Yeah, we got to get them to the ball, and you got to be excited about it when they get there. Offensively, they're 3-4 defense for our offense. They don't send a ton of pressure, but then they got athletes. They got D linemen that are very solid. They got some DBs that rally to the ball, and their linebackers are good as well. But, they play a lot of zone coverage. They don't play a lot of man, and they play with a physical mindset. So we have to bring a physical mindset, some things that we have to do. We got to protect the football, and we got to give our quarterback an opportunity to get the ball downfield and get our playmakers involved. And we got to get the push up the middle like we did last year to get the ball to Tristan and Landon and let them do what they do. So those things are huge.
So we just have a few seconds. Tomorrow night, what does it mean to have the Prattville Nation out there for this home ball game?
Well, it's going to be the region game this week is going to be important to get them there. First of all, because it's got to be exciting. It's got to be a great environment. There's been great environments every week. Nothing should be different here. So come there, support our guys, be loud. They'll come play for you.
Yeah. Well, fans, it's a short drive to a home game, just 30 minutes. We'd love to see you there. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We hope to see you at the ball game tomorrow night. Go Lions. God bless. We'll see you next time.
The Coach J.B. Wallace Show has been powered by Larry Puckett Chevrolet, Pepsi, Prattville Farm Center, Durbin Auto Parts, and by True Pull Trailers. Tune in